let me walk you through what I have planned for you today, and then I will walk you through the codes and the other functionalities, how you can edit these things. So first of all, this is my first page. When you log into Desmos, on the top right corner, you should see your account details. In order to create activities, you should try to click on Desmos Labs, because some accounts, they don't have access to every functionality in their account. So kindly click on Desmos Labs and change those settings. If you're not sure about those settings, I will show you in a moment. So before I begin, I wanted to just show you that there are a few things which I have planned for you. So in general lessons, we definitely ask questions to our students, and we feel that students should be able to answer in different ways. So we can have different components in Desmos to ask questions and collect their responses. So one of them is the multiple choice question. We present a question in front of the students, and then we ask multiple choice question. And in Desmos, we have the flexibility. It is not just going to accept the answer, but also going to ask the details of or reasoning behind that answer. So this is one way of doing it. And here is the another method. For example, Desmos is going to give us the opportunity to type in mathematical equations. So you have the keypad option available for students, where students just click here and then use the Desmos keypad to type whatever they like. For example, here I wanted to type x equals to 3. I can type and I can submit my response. So same question you can ask in two different ways. And I will walk you through what I did in order to make the activity for self-assessment so that you can mark that question autocorrect. So like this is the code I'm going to share with you soon. And this is what I have used in my activity. So I have provided the details. I will share the whole activity with you so that you can walk you through on your own on these slides, and side by side you learn what I have done for you here. So here the next part of this same question, for example, you may have two parts of one question. You present one example and then ask a question about it, maybe multiple choice or like the input what we had, but you only want to reveal the next part when first part is correct. So that way you have to click, let's say here, 2 correct answers, and then the next part will appear. So in this example, I have used one table. So I have a table here, but this table is only going to appear if my 2 answers are correct out of these 4. So you can apply conditions, how you can actually show or hide few things on the same slide. So you don't need to navigate on different slides. So this is also I will cover, and I have provided the details here. Then there is very popular thing in the Desmos, which is card sort. But I have done a card sort in a different way, so that every time you match the pairs or triplets, the answers, the status of cards will update automatically here. And it is not a very tricky job to do. So you can do it in just a few minutes. So if you see, I'm going to just combine these 2 cards. If they are correct, then this status is going to update. For example, there was nothing happening. So we can see, okay, that was nothing. So if you see, let me find out here, what are the same pairs? I think some part of my screen is hidden. Yeah. So if you see, some of the options are correct, some of the options are not correct. So here I think I'm asking the pattern of numbers which follow the same logic. So if I have this card, which is 3, 7, 11, 15, so the gap of 4. So I have a similar card here. So look, when these 2 cards are joined together, student or teacher has access to see how many cards are correct. So this is another way of asking card sort question. So here is the detail. And then we can have a graph as well as the input. So related to graph, you can ask a question, but it is not like a simple PowerPoint, because if your answer is correct, I'm expecting that you want to show somehow to your students if student is doing correctly or not. So if you can see here, if I enter the wrong gradient or slope of this line, I can see the line. So this is going to help students to see why my answer is wrong and what is the right answer here. So this is another way to have a classroom activity with self-assessment side by side, and helping your students to learn more independently, especially if they miss any lesson in the class. So here are the details what I have provided. So I've used 3 components, and let's see more. There are more graphs, let's say more algebra, and details are here. So this is what I have planned here also. It is depending on the algebra. So if it is correct, we can also have a feedback option if you want to give the feedback. So this is what I have planned. Now, let me walk you through these slides one by one and then see how these things can be done. Before I begin, if you have any question, please ask now. I'm going to pause for 10-15 seconds. Thank you. And some of the information, if you don't have, I'm going to just share the YouTube link for the recording as well as the other video.
So this is for
My
which grade and which chapter?
channel, I always update things on the Facebook and also on my website. Okay, I don't see there
This
is
is
any
for which
question, so
grade and
I'm
which
going to start
chapter which
now
you're
how we
showing?
can create this set of activities. So I'm going to go to Desmos and I'm going to log in. So if I log into my account, so this is my account. If I click here, I can see there are account settings, and of course my settings are all correct. So that's why it is just asking me to change password or name. Otherwise, you might see that there are options for you to have option of changing language or the Desmos lab settings. So right now, my settings are all okay. So I can actually start. So what you have to do, you are on the Desmos page, scroll down and you can go to teachers page, which is teachers home. Yeah, here you are going to see that Desmos labs. So in some options, if these ticks are not done, please do it. For example, geometry, Marble slides, and written feedback and computation layer. These are by default on, but just in case, please check. If these things are fine, then you can go back to home. You can find activities here, which are, of course, free of cost to use. You can search from here. You type any keyword, you may get some activities here. But if you want to create your own, so let's do it. So I'm going to go to custom activities. So click on the custom activities. And for example, this is I created today in the morning so that I can demonstrate what I wanted to do. So there's your all activities will be listed here. You can create folders to organize them. So right now I'm going to click on the create new activity, and you can type a name of your activity. So let's say activity activity 1, activity 2 for any topic. Let's say I'm going to use algebra. Once you have entered every detail, and then you just click on, you can put more descriptions here, create new activity. I'm really sorry for those who are already aware about these settings or these things, but it is necessary for the participants so that they know how to navigate from one place to another. So that's the canvas for us. So if you can see on my left-hand side, all of the components, note, response, multiple choice, check boxes, sketch. I am liking this a lot these days because sketch is going to give, for example, I don't assign activities to my students to do on their own every class. but I planned Desmos activity, but I run in my class and I use the sketch tool on the slide so that I can actually scribble, write down, or solve questions for my students. And this is stable media if you want to add any image. And these are the card sort polygraph. And those who are aware, polypad is one of them, which is the Mathegon's additional component, which is inbuilt in Desmos. Recently, I posted a video for function machine. I really liked it. And student also loved it. So that's how we can do. So I'm going to create first slide with a question and the input box, because multiple choice or checkbox is always easy to create. You just need to click the right answer, whichever you are going to make it. So I'm going to click on the note, and here I'm going to write my question. For example, if you are writing solve for X, and you can just use your simple keyboard to type. If you want to make this X more in a math format, which is a LaTeX form, so you just erase it from here and use this button, which is called type math. And now you type. So now X is going to appear in a math format, which is the LaTeX form. And that's how I'm going to enter my equation. So in my next line. So click here, enter any equation, whichever you like. So you can have 3x minus 4 equals to x plus 5. So I have equation here, which is just hardly two-step linear equation. This is just an example. You can ask anything related to number. And what I'm going to show you how you can actually make this activity for a self-assessment as well. Not only just to teach, but also for the assessment purpose. So this is my first component I have added. And now I'm going to add a math response so that I can ask my students to enter their response. And that answer is only going to go with a math format. So it's not a text-based question, but you can just have equation format. So I have added both components here. If you like, you can add a sketch component on the left-hand side if you want to teach using this presentation mode only. Let me see the preview so that you get the clarity. Look, that's how your slide is going to look. So it's much better than simple PowerPoints. It's written clearly in math format. There is a math input box for you to type for you or for your students. On the left-hand side, you can use this pencil tool to scribble. Of course, most of the schools, they have the touch screen boards. So you can use that, or use the stylus or the other instruments to just type. Right now, I'm just using my mouse. So very sorry. So this is the way how we can demonstrate. And nowadays I'm using actually this. So I don't want to actually miss that opportunity that teachers are not demonstrating the solution steps to the students. So of course, this is a good opportunity for those who can quickly solve these questions. So here, let's say I'm just going to enter one answer. So it's, I think it's 9/2. So if I solve it, right, I'm not asking for the steps here, but I'm only asking for the answer. Now, this is simple, done. They can edit the response and submit. But for teachers, on your activity, you're going to see this dot, which means student just responded. Doesn't mean student is correct, student is wrong. So if you want to encourage your student, because this is not visible for your students, this box is only for teachers. So if you want to see that, no, I want to check whether my student did it correctly. So that's one simple code we are going to use. So this is, you need to identify where student is responding. So students are responding here. So I'm going to just name it. Let's say question 1, input 1, whatever you like. You just need to give some sort of name. And once you have given the name, in Desmos, there is called edit computation layer. So just click here and type a simple script, which is not difficult to learn. what you have to type, write down correct, because we are gonna show the tick mark on the teacher's dashboard. So correct, when it is correct, so just give the right answer. So if you remember the component which I gave, it was Q1. So Q1 was my input thing. So it is going to appear like this dot. What I'm checking, am I checking numerical value or am I just checking the submission? So these are the options for you. So these two, first and second, are most useful. I'm going to click on the second option because my answer is just a numerical number. So Q1 dot numerical value equals to, it was 4.5 if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So you can enter this answer like this and it is done. I'm just checking the chat. Yes, definitely. I'm going to send the recording on the same emails. So that's how we can just verify it is correct or not. If you incomplete the code, you will see these red lines. So this is your warning for the teachers to just see what is wrong here. So this is nothing hard in this. You just need to remember, are you checking a numerical value or not? And here, done. So let's see now, preview. Look, my question 3x minus 4. Now I'm going to enter x equals to, look, if I'm entering a wrong answer, teacher is going to see the cross, right? But when we answer 4.5 and submit, it is correct, but it is not appearing. There is a reason behind it, but I can show you whether it is correct or not. Look, Desmos recently introduced this, not recently, few months ago. So if you click here, you can verify whether student entered it correctly or not. So, but for teachers, why we are not able to see this? There is a reason, because we have added another component which is called sketch. So just go there and type read only. So whatever component you're going to add as extra, just to use that activity, which is not marking or judging students' work. So you can always just keep it like this, read only, true. That is valid for all. So click done. Now you will be able to see this. So x equals to 4.5. Look, now it is evident that the answer is correct, which we have feeded. And if you like, you can give the feedback. So if you are okay with this, I can just go now and show you how you can give the feedback. In order to give feedback to your students on the same screen, you just need one more step of coding, and you have to show the feedback where you have to decide that. For example, this is my question screen and this is my input. So I will definitely be okay if I show the feedback after or once my answer is submitted. So I'm going to just create one more note or just drag it and put it here. So you can add on a note and drag it just below your math input box and go here. Just type one more thing, what you have to type, because it is a text feedback for your students to see once their answer is correct. So I'm going to just create a feedback variable. We call it variable here, but you can just type whatever you like. So feedback equals. Now I'm going to give a condition because I don't want to give feedback every time once student has submitted and answer is correct. So in this Desmos, we don't use if, we have when. So we are going to use when condition, when Q1 dot, same logic, numerical value equals 4.5. And I'm going to add one more condition, Q1 dot submitted. So I don't want to give them feedback before they submit. So then I'm going to type a text. So when you type a text, you always have to use double quotation. So inside those double quotes, you have to type your feedback. Yes, it is correct. You can add emojis here. And if you want to give feedback for a wrong answer as well, you can. So just type when again. Now I'm not checking for their correctness, but only checking if their answer is submitted. I'm just going to click here, q1.submitted, and then no, try again. So these are two conditions, but still we see the red lines, right? So it means our code is not complete. So what do you have to do? Because when you apply a condition, you have to also save your text if the condition is not meeting. So in that case, we have the option which is called otherwise. Otherwise, if these both conditions are not meeting, so we are not going to show anything. So just like empty double quotes, and it is done. So once you are done here, what you have to do, just go here and come on the right bottom. So you will see there is a hashtag button. So just click here and add your feedback. So this is how your students are gonna receive the feedback below this screen. So let's enter a wrong answer and submit. Look, the feedback is there. No, try again. Same thing, if you do the correct answer, 4.5. Yes, it is correct. So student is also happy, teacher is also happy. So one job can do both works. I'm just reading the chat. Yes, it is gonna correct if no matter how you enter this answer, 9/2 or 4.5. Desmos is gonna actually auto convert this. There is a way if you want to disable this fraction. So you can disable the calculation thing in a math box. So this is one part which I have used a simple note, a math input, and a feedback text. You can have a feedback in the form of images as well. There is a special video for that, how to give feedback in different ways on my YouTube channel. So you can just check that as well in Desmos playlist. So if everybody's happy here, then we can go for the next part, which I want to use a graph as well as the same concept as we just used. Maybe we can have a different kind of question. And just let's take a pause a little bit. And if you think you want to use some geometry, yes, you can. So just click on geometry here, add a question using note, and create whatever you want. So you can just add it construction. Let's say you want to show or ask your students to work interactively for angles of a triangle, or lines are parallel or lines are intersecting, whatever. So let's say I'm just gonna click here and create a line or segment. Another segment, let's say, right? And then one transversal line. Now you can go here for the angles, click on angle. So first part, second, and then you see this, there is an angle, and again here. I think angles are set on radian here. Let me see, angles, you can change the settings to degrees. So now angles are in degrees. Okay, so what you can ask, for example, you can lock one of the side. Let's say I want to lock this. Click on the point, and on these three dots, you can label if you want, and you can rename if you want. Draggable, no. So just remove the draggable thing, so it is fixed. Same thing you can do with this point. Label, yes, not draggable. Click here. So you can do the same thing for all points. And let this be draggable, right? So that students can actually make these two lines parallel, and they can verify, oh, my angle is correct, or my angle is same, corresponding angle, for example. So if you want to control this again, just click here and hit non-draggable. Yeah, initially you can adjust if you like. Let's say you don't like 77.3 angle, you can just hardly adjust these things. Click here, drag, and move it a little bit so that you can set up for a perfect angle. Let's say 80 degrees. Now it is okay, so you can just hide it. So once it is set up, you can hide the grid behind. So minor grid lines or nothing, no grid. So just click here. So students are going to see this white space. Here you can add instructions. So drag point, let's say, I think we labeled it C or D. I think we forgot. We can just go here and put the label here. Yeah. Drag point D to make these lines parallel. And record the angle, for example, whatever you like. So you can add another math input box if you want to check whether answer is correct or not. So you can follow the same procedure as we just did here. What you can do if you don't want to do it again and again, just copy this component from here, go to next slide and use Control V or Command V to paste. Look, same component I've just added. You don't need to do everything. You just go here and change the angle. So let's say it is 80, right? So the answer is 80. And if you want to give feedback, go back and just copy this component, move to your next slide, Control V or Command V, and you can adjust it wherever you like. Again, go back here, just change your answer. You don't need to change other things. So let's see a preview. Look, one more thing, sorry, I forgot. What you could do, if you want to allow your students to use these options on a geometry tool, let's say they can create a point, they can create a circle or polygon, up to you. If you want to hide them, click on these three dots, okay, and just you can convert in a sketch if you like. And there is an option. Yes, author mode. So look at here. So you can just choose none. So if you don't want to show anything to your students. So right now, they're not going to see anything above it. Look, now they are able to drag it, but they cannot do other things with the tool here. And you can zoom in, zoom out a little bit so that you can have it. So let's say a student is going to fix the point for 80 degrees. Done, 80 degree, and give the feedback. Yes, it is correct. As I said earlier, you can check it from here. And here it is not because we did not add read only thing here. So you can just click on read only, true. So have a go. Again, you just make it 80 degree here, right? Of course, there are ways how you can verify these things, but just in the beginning, we can use simple. See, 80, submit, feedback, teacher is also happy. So we can use geometry. And if you don't like to your students not to drag anything or just to sketch, you can click on convert into sketch. So when you convert into a sketch form, student will not be able to drag, rather they will be able to scribble over it. And so it's good for labeling. So let's say you want to label, okay, which angles are corresponding, which angles are alternate interior angles. So stuff like that, you can use Sketch to add anything behind the screen and ask them to label things. Taking just a pause for 10 seconds. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and say it. Next bit, we will go for algebra expressions. How you can add a feedback for algebra, as I had in my this activity. Or maybe we can just do the card sort if you think that is going to help you. So this is my algebra. Okay, no questions. Okay, for example, let me just walk you through from here. Let's say this is my old activity. I know my code is here. So I'm going to just copy this screen from here, go to my activity, which I'm creating right now. Blank page, just use the Control V command again. The whole component is gonna add here. Look, it was component R3, the expansion is there. Now, let's see how we can add the feedback. So I'm gonna copy from here and move here. Control V, paste, done. Look, it's showing, oh, you haven't added anything, or it is not making any sense. So in that case, this is R3 and here we gave Q1. So we can just say here, maybe R1, just in case. And then it is gonna appear, oh, no, it is not, because it is a math response. So we can just change this as well, R1 and R1, R3, I think, yes. Because my component has a different name in my other activity. So it was R3, so I'm using R3 now. So look, it becomes valid. Of course, this is just working for 80, so I'm just showing you. Let's say if you enter 80, and yes, it is correct, right? So it's gonna work, but now we want to work with the algebra fraction. Just to remind you, in maybe 3 minutes, the Zoom will break down. Please join back so that I can take your questions and continue with more components like this. But before we take that 3 minutes, so we can just make sure that how we can add a component to cross-check that whether my answer is algebra or a number. So earlier we used just numbers. Please use this. Yeah, it's the same link. Yes, just use the same link to join. Okay, so let's see what I have done here. So what I have done, I have defined my variable x and my answer, because it was my question 3. So I just planned in that way. So answer 3 is x power 4 minus 1. Rest other things, it is already created for you. So let's say I'm just going to change the expression x square minus 2 and x square plus 2, because now my expression is changing to x square minus 4. That's it. You don't need to change anything if you use this particular slide from my activity. The way how we copied, same way you can copy. Of course, score 3 is not used because I used in my other activity. So right now, this is just done. But the feedback is still based on 80, if you remember that. So we can rectify that as well. So what we can do, because we are not just checking numerical value this time, right? But we are checking whether my answer is correct as x power 4 minus 4 or not, using a new variable which is called check3. So what I have done, I have already set up a condition to verify. So the Desmos is going to verify at the back end that how my answer is correct or not. So this is my variable check3. So how you can use it from that component in my feedback. So just go here and change the condition. So here it's R3 dot. It is actually a defined thing in script. So script, it was check3. So means the condition which I have already set on check3, if it is meeting and submitted, then it is going to say yes, otherwise no. Let's verify quickly before we take a break. So x power 4 minus 4. So look, both ways it is working well for any algebra expression. So this may go end now. So I'm just going to stop the recording.